Strainprint Technologies Limited is a Toronto-based cannabis data and analytics company providing enterprise-grade analytics and consumer solutions for the medical cannabis industry. The company manages the gathering and analysis of real-time cannabis consumption data and ranks specific strain efficacy against conditions and related symptoms. It also works with commercial producers and clinics to provide advanced intelligence and optimize operations and treatment recommendations. Strainprint can be embedded or integrated with most electronic medical records, point-of-sale, and seed-to-sale software systems. The Strainprint app is free to patients and can be downloaded from both the iOS App Store and Google Play Store.
Looking at something that's obviously
not
trading
here
at a
today.
discount,
Ed has taken
it's a lot
his
easier to become
bag of charts.
enthusiastic about it.
He's gone now for a bit. I'm pleased to present somebody I actually have met before. I don't know much about the stock, the ins and outs of the stock prices, but I'll tell you I know a little bit about this company. Please say hello to the CEO of Strainprint Technologies. Hello, young Andrew. Nice to see you.
Young, I like it. Thank you. Nice to see you too.
Andrew Muroff.
Yes, sir.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, it is.
I should know that. Full disclosure, for a couple years, Andrew and the company Strainprint have been sponsoring the Humble and Fred Show, a very cannabis-friendly radio show / podcast. And I've got to know a little bit about Strainprint. And I know you've been on the letter before as well.
I have, yep.
But for you people who don't know, if you're not 100% sure what Andrew has been up to, why don't you just give us a little background on the company, and then we can talk a little bit about how it trades and some of the growth opportunities.
Sure. So Strainprint Technologies is a data and analytics company. We have 4 products that service the industry with data. And so we drive data through our pretty incredible outcomes tracking app. That app has actually been in market for 2 years as of last Friday, and today we have over 1.1 million patient-reported outcomes. It's the largest data set of its kind, and it's used today by licensed producers, by clinics, by large pharmacy chains, by government, and it's used for business support and for making better treatment recommendations.
Well, and that's the thing, if we can just take a couple minutes just to give people a flavor of what exactly we're talking about. It's a companion app. You can download it, Google Play, iTunes. And what it does is it tracks your sessions, it's called, but it tracks your use of cannabis. And why do you want to do that? Because forget the, I don't know, the giddiness of the legalization of a drug a lot of people were already using illegally. But there's a lot of people who have been using it legally, medically, for years, and what Strainprint did, I think what you guys have done, is put a bunch of people that are already using it, given them a place to report how they're finding the use of it medically, and then they get to share with each other. I always use the example, if you've got a migraine or insomnia or inflammation or something, you start, CBDs or THCs, but you go on Strainprint and find out exactly what other people have used to combat those symptoms.
The challenge is that there's 450 active components in any strain of cannabis.
Right.
So you as an individual are going to metabolize different than I am. There's thousands of options to choose from with cannabis, so we have to figure out what works best for each one of us, hence the name Strainprint. It's the fingerprint that's best for you. So the only way you can do that is to track your own outcomes. So when you track everything you use, how you felt before, what symptom you were treating, how you felt after, how you used it, what your dose was, and as well as the full chemical profile of the product you're using. We don't expect you to know that. We pre-populate every single legal medical product that's in the market today. And so that way when you choose your product, you don't have to say, well, is that 2% THC, 3% CBD? It's already in there. Right? And so at the end of the day, what you're finding is what's the optimal chemical profile for the symptom that you're treating against, but tracked against the product that you're actually using.
Well, and when I first met you and Jessica and everyone at the company, I had a sense of, oh, this will be a cute way to keep track of the buzz I got. But and I'm being serious, I didn't really understand that it was, if my aging parent is taking some kind of CBD or THC product for Parkinson's, I would want to track and find out what other people in the dosage. The dosing is very, very important.
Yes.
Not only is the dosing important, but also the efficacy of the strain that you're using.
How you used it, also important. The time of day you used it. you know, you think about, remember, these are medical patients who are using and tracking their outcomes. This is not somebody who's just looking to get high. Nothing wrong with that. That's just not the market.
There is nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that, yes. And we actually, to be honest, a lot of patients will use medical products in the day and they'll use recreational products in the nighttime. And that's okay too. I mean, we know that, so we track that. We want to understand the full experience with cannabinoids. And so that product is what tracks the data. We also have another product called Strainprint Community, which is where we learn about patient sentiment and user sentiment, and people go and talk about cannabis and what they're using with their other medications as well. And then all that drives up into our Strainprint Analytics platform, which is how we monetize the anonymous data set.
Right, and that's key. It's anonymous. Your sessions are always confidential. And now let's talk about this play as it relates to investors and people watching, and the idea that you mentioned it in your opening remarks that Strainprint sells this information. To whom and why, and is that how you monetize the
That's
company?
Exactly right. So the data is anonymous. Like I said, we don't collect any personalized information. We collect only age and gender. And when you aggregate all that information up together, what you get is the ability to see the trends and the ability to see what's working by cohort. So 35-year-old females, for instance, might react to a product differently than 50-year-old men. We see that a lot.
And I think 35-year-old females react completely differently to 50-year-old men on everything.
Yes.
It's been my experience.
Sounds like you might have more experience than me, but
I don't.
Anyway,
I don't want to tell you. It was a very dark period in my life. Okay, please continue.
So at the end of the day, the people who use the data to make business decisions are licensed producers, our clinics, pharmacists, and government. So government uses it to drive public policy. They want to understand adverse reaction. Licensed producers can understand both product formulation as well as product set. What am I missing? Why are patients buying from another licensed producer and not from me? What don't I have in my product set? Right. Product or strain optimization in your facility. So as an example, you can look and say, I have 5 products that I'm growing that are very similar in what they're efficacious for. Well, why am I doing that? Why don't I take the best one and sell and grow that, and then take the other 4 and grow something else that might be for another purpose? So, clinics. If I can just finish the clinics.
Yeah, please.
On the clinic side and on the medical side, it's about empowering doctors to track their patients' performance in real time, and as well be able to see a full history of what they've used and how it's worked for them, and then to be able to make a better decision and recommendation when they come into the clinic more quickly.
Isn't that interesting?
So you can get more patients through your clinic by still providing a good level of service to them.
You know, that last piece is fascinating to me because, you know, I've talked about it. I think I've mentioned it here. If I didn't, I will now. I say it all the time that the real revolution in legalization wasn't so that you could have access to weed. We all had access to it. What this is giving us as citizens is, and the real revolution is when you can go into a Shoppers Drug Mart and say to the pharmacist, listen, I'm having some problems with my sleep. Do you have a cannabis product you can recommend? And they'll be able to, because of companies like Strainprint that are tracking. You think about this. Someone might say saw palmetto is great for prostate health. By the way, it is. But there's nothing that tracks the people that use saw palmetto and their experience with it. So it's just anecdotal, word of mouth, and no doctor, very few doctors, cool ones do, but a lot of GPs don't recommend a lot of organic, a lot of nutraceutical products. But this is different.
It's different for a couple of reasons. Number one, because cannabis patients are very motivated to share their experience.
Yes.
For whatever the good or bad is for that, that's just the reality. And then at the end of the day, if you're using this, just in particular our tool, if you're using our tool to figure out what's best for you, and you can share that with everybody else, when we aggregate up all the data, that's when it becomes really powerful.
Well, and I think what it does is it's powerful for the patient advocating for themselves. But I will say this, you know, the medical aspect of this, it's so powerful because a doctor will be able to look on Strainprint and go, okay, I got a patient with inflammation, tendinitis of the elbow, extreme. There's going to be a bunch of people that have had a similar experience and they used whatever strain of weed or however they use it, it will be evidence, there's a better word than that.
It will be evidenced in our platform.
Exactly.
Right? So what we can tell now today as an example that, I'll just pick one that I know off the top of my head, 4,000 users have tracked anxiety 160,000 times in our platform.
I bet they have.
A lot of people are anxious. Everybody works hard, and everybody comes
I don't
home.
mean to be facetious. I bet they have. That's a huge one for cannabis.
But that's a huge number, right?
Yeah.
And whether you look at it from the number of users or the number of uses, there is no observational clinical trial like that today. And by the way, I'll point out a couple other things about the platform, just because you're talking about medical focus. Our data has been used by researchers and published in peer-reviewed journals, medical journals, so it's got some credibility and validation there. But as well now, the entire platform is starting to be used for clinical trials. So we use the data that exists in the platform today to narrow down the scope of the clinical trial. For example, we're doing one on endometriosis. We have 20,000 patient records of people who had identified treating symptoms of endometriosis. So we can narrow down the focus of the study, save the study primary, tremendous amount of dollars and time in narrowing that down, and then use our Strainprint community to recruit from that platform, recruit from that community. Together, the whole thing allows us to run validated questionnaires and custom surveys on our Strainprint community in conjunction with ongoing tracking on the app, and that supports the in-clinic visit. And the study supervisors can oversee the whole thing using Strainprint analytics now. So it's unlike anything that's ever been done in clinical trials from a full technology platform, and we have 8 clinical trials about to launch on the platform today. So it's very exciting from that perspective.
I was going to say it's an exciting time in the world of cannabis, obviously, but it's a really exciting time in the world of medical information sharing, so specific to patient experience.
Yeah, personal medicine.
Personal medicine. I want to talk a little bit about the company before we let you go. You guys announced a partnership with Cannabis at Work, CAW, the leading source for cannabis jobs in Canada, delivering recruitment services, online training, and such. What does that mean for the company, and what was the reason behind getting in a partnership with them?
Well, our Strainprint community launched in October of last year, and the whole purpose of it is to provide an environment where partners can work with us and use our platform to help themselves generate a community and a community environment where they can speak directly with their own users. So this is a way for us to provide a platform that gets their users accustomed to using Strainprint and gets our users accustomed to using Cannabis at Work. So it's a true partnership in that respect, and we really like the Cannabis at Work team. And at this point, what we're doing right now is just driving partnership, but these are sponsorship opportunities for us.
And obviously, this is a program that's here to provide information, possibly to invest in. When will we have an investment opportunity at Strainprint? Or are you allowed to say? We are
a private company.
Yes.
We have been privately funded, and we are just closing our Series B, which is a $10 million raise. Our next raise may be a public market offering. We're not sure yet. It may be something else, but for now we're just closing this to put our foot on the gas and really to just accelerate our first mover advantage. Well,
having had personal experience of your company with Jessica and Noah and some of the folks, you're a great bunch, and I think it's a great idea that you had a few years ago, but I think it's going to help a lot of people, not just investment, but also from a health standpoint.
It's helping thousands of people today. That's the best part about it.